Let's model a little scene that I like to call laboratory accident. Alright, so here in Blender, I'm going to delete everything. Make sure my move tool is on and my screencast keys. I'm going to press 1 to look from the front orthographic view and bring in a reference image available for download. And this has everything that we're going to need. I'm going to press S2 to scale it up. Let's look from the top. Bring in a plane. Press S2. Go into edit mode. And with those vertices selected, Shift Control B and pull to create a little notch like that. Let's press 1 to look from the front, and we'll hide that empty. Press E to extrude, and I'm going to pull it down just a little bit like that. Press 3 for face selection. Select that top face. Hide inset, pull it in just a little bit. You can hold Shift to move a little bit slower. Go into edge selection, and with that edge selected, press Control B and pull just a small amount. Okay. In face selection, Shift Alt and click that edge. Let's extrude that down. Press E and gesture down. Pull down with your mouse just a little bit. Press 2, deselect that. Shift Alt and click those edges there. Press Control B and pull and roll your mouse up 1. We'll get a bit of an edge in there. Shift and Alt and click those edges as well. Pull. I'm going to roll my mouse up a couple of times to get it a bit smoother like that. We'll shade smooth, and on that let's try bevel, and then weighted normal and normals, auto smooth, and we'll have that. Right away let's switch to the cavity shader, turn on both, bring up ridge, valley, ridge and valley like that. Okay, let's make sure those faces are facing the right way. They're not. You can see it's red. Select it all, Alt N, recalculate outside. Okay, that's what we need right there. Okay, one more detail on there. Let's bring in a bolt, Shift A, circle, and 16. Go into edit mode and scale it down until you like the size. G, bring it up to a corner. Press the tab key to zoom in, F to make a face, so let's bring it up a little bit. E to extrude, pull it down. X, delete that bottom face. 3 for face selection. And then Control B. A few segments, shade smooth, and we'll have that. Make sure it's making contact, and then move it to where you like. 3D cursor is still in the middle, so in object mode. Let's add a mirror in the X and in the Y. So we have our base or little table or whatever. Select the empty, G, and move it so that the 3D cursor is at the bottom of that cylinder right there. Let's move this back as well so it's not in the way. Okay, let's start to model that. We can always change the size of the table if we need to. Okay, so let's bring in a cylinder, mesh cylinder. Let's go for 18 vertices. And cap fill is nothing. Go into edit mode and wireframe. Z. We'll scale it down and choose a part that you want to start with. Now I'm going to move the empty a little bit, the reference image. Select it, GX, and just move it so it lines up with the cylinder a little bit better. Okay, there we go, good enough. Okay, box select, drag this down to here. Box select here. I'm going to drag this up to here. I'm going to scale them out. E, extrude them down to here. Scale them. E, extrude down to there. All right, so this is what I have so far. Shift Alt and click there, extrude up to here. E, S, hold down Shift, E, come up to here. Just leave an edge loop there for now. E, come up to here. Okay, that's it for that. All right, just leave that be for now. Press 2 for edge selection and select this one, this one, this one, and this one, so the 4 front ones, and just pull up to there. That's all we need to do for the moment. Okay. Shift Alt and click one of these circles and keep that. Shift D, pull it up. Look from the front. Pull it up to here. E to extrude. Pull up to there. Leave that edge loop there. E to extrude. Pull up to there. Again, let's press 1 for vertex selection and go into wireframe. E and S and come in, scale it in a bit. E, come up to here, scale it in. Do that. All right, we're just going to leave that for now. I'm going to do the edge loops. Select that edge loop. I'll go back into wireframe. I'm going to go Control B and pull. Make sure you have no segments in there. E and Alt S and pull down. And just pull it in a wedge like that. That's good enough. I'm going to come down to here, Shift Alt and click that edge loop and do the same thing. Control B, pull, E and Alt S and pull down. So we're making that indentation there, like that. Let's select everything in Alt and recalculate outside. Make sure. Let's keep one of these circles. Shift D. Pull it up, scale it in a little bit to make that. P, let's break it out. All right. Now this stuff, we can go ahead and Control 2 for 2 subdivisions. Throw in some edge loops to sharpen this up. So I'm just going to drag an edge loop down here. Look at this. I like that. Come over here, do the same kind of a thing. I'm going to bring an edge loop down here. I'm going to bring one up here. We're going to need that later. Bring that there. And this here, we're going to work on this middle section. Down to here. And up to here. And we'll need another one here to sharpen that up a bit. Maybe even another one here. Okay, not too bad. Okay. Now we're going to take this, and I think a couple of different ways to do this, but I think I'll use, I'll just commit to this. Select it all, and E and Alt S, and let's pull it in. I'm looking over here, give it a good amount of thickness. That's fine with me. And I'm going to add an edge loop here and an edge loop here to sharpen that up, just like that. Top here, here, and here. Now that causes it to slope in, and if you don't like that, if you didn't like that, you could Shift Alt and click just this edge and you could pull it up to sort of flatten it. And up to you if you want to do it that way. That's okay with me either way. We get that. And we'll just take this and slash. You can look underneath. You might want to flatten the bottom as well. Just open at the bottom. That's okay. Alright, we have that so far. If we go to wireframe, you can see this little circle or button or something there. The way you could do that really quickly is you could select these 2 front faces. Shift D and pull it out. P to break it out. We have that. And then just take this and shape it. X. Put another one, select the whole thing, scale it down, and then right click loop tool, circle, scale it down a bit, extrude it back, but delete those faces and maybe just drop an inch loop. Take the whole thing and push it in, but just scale it the size you like. You may have to recalculate outside, and you have a nice little round button on the top there. Okay, next, take this piece here. I'm going to pull this down, extrude it up to make the glass. Okay, like this. I'm going to do Control 1 and shade smooth. But we're going to take this and just bring it down a little bit more. And I need a circle from this, so I'll slash for a second. So I got that selected, Shift D, just pull that up, scale it. I got two of them, so I don't need that. So that's that piece, Shift D, scale it, P to break it out. I don't need the subdivision on it, I'm just going to need that piece, so let's bring everything else back. Let's hide this glass and take this just as a base down here and scale in a bit, go F to make a face for the DNA molecule here to sit on. Just scale it out so it doesn't come out, and then check it, because a good chance it'll be flipped, which it is, and even those bolts are. So yeah, with that, go Alt and flip, and let's go back to these. Alt and flip as well. Okay. Okay, so that piece we're going to need as well in the top. Shift D to duplicate it and bring it up, and just put it up here so as the top of the jar. Now we're also going to do something up at the top, these dots, so I'll show you a nice way to do that. Shift D, duplicate it up to where you want it, go into edit mode, scale it in so that it's like there. Okay, we'll do some holes in that. Let's go ahead and do that now. Let's make sure we have that as a separate object, which we do. All right, and let's focus just on that itself. So that's just a single plane, and then gone. Let's go in, and we'll Shift D, scale, and extrude down. Okay. Select a piece and Control L, P to break it out, so we have just that. I'm going to look from the top and scale it a bit, and then move it out to here. Okay, so we're going to spin this. So I'm going to go ahead and look from the top and just get the position that I wanted in. So around there, go to edit mode, spin in the X, drag it around, and make this 360 and this about 7. Select Alt N, recalculate outside. So we have those. And then let's just Shift D and S to scale. Pull these in smaller like that. Just make sure that they go through. Alright, so we should have all of those. Make sure Alt N, calculate outside. Let's do a Boolean on this, so select that. Boolean, difference, eyedropper. You choose fast. I don't think it'll matter in this case. Apply that. Okay, and let's go select it all. Extrude up, and without losing the selection, let's select all of these things and deselect these faces, and then deselect these edges, as many as possible. Well, all of them really. Trying to keep the edges around the circles still active. So just go through them like that. Deselect the edge around here. We don't need that. Okay. And then go in carefully and make sure everything in the circles is selected. See, there's a piece that's not right there. I'm just going to go around the big circles first. There's another piece that wasn't. I'm going to bevel these. And then look around the little ones. Now you can always do a test bevel, so just zoom out a little bit. Control B and pull. And just look at it. See, it's starting to cross there. Now you could rebuild some of these edges if you want. I don't think I could be bothered. Just pull just a little bit. And put one edge loop in there, whatever. It'll catch a little bit of light. Shade smooth. Bevel. Just one bevel to have it on there. Weighted normal and oops. And auto smooth. Slash key to bring stuff back. Take this whole thing, scale it in just a little bit. Position it where you like. And we'll have that. Now, the only other issue for this is going to be when we have the DNA, the ends of it are going to stick through this top part and you'll see the ends. And so what I like to do is Shift D, copy this one more time, bring it in, and scale it in so that when you see through these holes, you won't see the DNA piece. All right, anyhow. Okay, cool. So we have that. All right, let's go into here. Shift S, cursor to selected. 3D cursor there. Hide the glass, and we'll make the DNA. I'm going to hide the empty. We don't need that right now. To make the DNA plane, go into edit mode. 1 for vertex selection. Select those. Merge at center. These. Merge at center. Select the whole thing. Scale it down a little bit so you just got this line. I'm going to pull that down. Scale it in. Okay. I'll go back into object mode, and in the modifiers we're going to choose screw, and under this screw height here we'll choose about 8 meters for now. Alright, leave that and collapse it. Skin, leave that. Subdivision surface, we're going to bring that to about 2. Okay. Now I'm going to start scaling this down, pulling it in. I'm going to go back into edit mode and select that and S to scale. And that's going to widen it out a little bit. Come back to screw, and I might go for 10. And I'm going to scale it out like this. And in object mode, scale it down. And then we're also going to choose displace, click new, and click here, choose clouds, and come back to the modifier and reduce the strength. You're probably going down to about 0.225. It'll give it a nice gritty kind of blocky look. And you see that's what I was saying, so you don't see the ends. And there is our DNA. Okay, cool. So that's the main part right there. Now, let's take this and hide it and hide it. That's not what I want to do. Hide the empty and hide the plane and hide those, and then take everything else and we'll select it, M, new collection. Let's call this Vial 1. Okay. So we should have in Vial 1, let's see if we got everything we need. Yes, we do. Very good. All right, let's start adding some shading to this in the viewport. Let's go to a matte cap. Choose a matte cap that you have, maybe this shiny one. I think that's pretty standard. Let's go to object, and then select the glass. Come down to here and viewport display. Choose green and drag the alpha to about halfway. Select the DNA and choose maybe yellow or something like that. Now I'm actually going to switch to a different matte cap because I like this one. I like the look that it gives, like this. All right. So we'll do a little bit more work here on this. Go into edit mode and wireframe. Okay, so we have this section here to do. So I'm going to press 3, Shift Alt and click there. I'm actually going to go back to solid view. Maybe a little bit hard to see, so we'll come to here. In face selection, we're going to select these. I'm going to press I twice, inset twice, pull in. Before you lose that selection, Shift D, pull to edge crease these really sharp. E and Alt S and pull in like this. Pulling down to pull them in. Control R and Control B just with one, like that, just as a line, edge loop up and down. I will just do that, just for some other detail. Okay, all right. I can come back to here. So there's what we have. Okay. The next thing we'll do is we will make a split in this. We'll break one open to make a lab magazine. So just arbitrarily position that somewhere. Shift D, I'm going to duplicate it over. Before I lose it, I'm going to call this Vial 2. So I got that. Let's move that over a little bit. And then I'm going to rotate this like that. So it's on its side. We'll adjust that in a bit. Come over here. What we really want is we want to take this glass, select it and slash. Come in, drop an edge loop there, one for vertex selection. And now we're going to break this glass. So just grab and hit a vertex and move it. And move these points sort of arbitrarily. Just don't go too crazy. Just move them up along the edge, up and down. Move this around. All right, so I'm exaggerating this a little bit. And we should be just about done. Let's just take one more. Let's move it up. Good enough. Press 3 for face selection, Shift Alt and click. So you have that P and break it out. So you now have two pieces. Slash, can you bring that back? Okay, we got two pieces. I'm going to take the DNA and just hide it. So I want, in this section, I want to select this piece, this, the bottom, and the button. I think that's everything. Just test by moving it. I'm going to put that into its own collection. So M, do collection. We could call this Vial 2 bot for bottom. And for this one, it's going to be that top piece. I'm going to have to get all these pieces. So I'm going to select that stuff first. Merge Vial to top. And with that selected, I can move that and realize, okay, there's other pieces. So I'm just going to go H to hide it. Take both of these, M, Vial to top. So we should have, let's see, if I just click on that, yeah, we get rid of all that stuff. So, okay, great. So let's hide that again. We'll work on the glass. I'm going to select this glass, and I'm going to come over here and choose solidify, and I'm going to move inwards, and I pull it about 0.5, I think. Too much. I do want it pretty thick, so I'm going to try 0.5. And if I select that and the shift select that, Control L, 0.5. Okay, so I'm going to take this one and I'm going to apply it. I'm going to come in and Shift Alt and click those edges and Control B, and I'm going to pull just like that. I'll put one edge in there. We'll get this. Okay. I'm going to drag an edge loop down here. Let's do the same thing on this glass. Okay, let's go ahead and apply that. And Shift Alt and click these edges and we'll bevel them. Same way. Just a little bit like that. Now we could leave it like that. But I would take, we'll look more colors in a bit. But what I sometimes like to do is to come in here. Let's shut off the subdivision for the moment. And Shift Alt and click this glass, the middle, and Control plus, till we get the entire sort of broken edge part. P and break it out. just isolate that and go in. And then I like to Shift Alt and click the inner edge and Control E. Just bridge edge loops for now. We'll come back. And then take this piece, since we're just doing stuff in the viewport colors, and just change the color a little bit. So we get that. I sometimes like to do, to do that. Or you could experiment with the colors. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for both of them. Make sure we put the subdivision back on. Break that out. Isolate that. And just get the top. It's easier without the subdivision on. Control E, bridge edge loops. Let's turn that back on. Yeah. And then just change the color. It sort of highlights that. Let's come in here and drop an edge loop for that guy. And these pieces, I'm going to make them sort of a greenish color as well. That's like the stand part where the DNA would go. And I would, of course, have to come over here. And if you want to get the same color, of course, you would just select this, come in here under hex, Control C, and then come over here and select that, come in here and Control V, and you get the same color. So you can do that. All right, so now let's go back here and let's select these. And then you just decide where you want them. All right. So I'm going to rotate this. I'll rotate that in the Z like that. And, that kind of thing. All right. So there's your lab accident. Let's double check all our faces. You can turn that off for now. You got a cool little scene like that. You can, of course, try different matte caps to see how it looks. It looks pretty neat as well. A little bit rather sci-fi-ish. All right. I'm just going to quickly do the pen in there as well. All right, so maybe what I'll do is we'll select this, and I'm just going to slide it down. I'll pull it over here, and we can model that pen. I'm going to choose my 3D cursor, and I'm just going to click over here somewhere. And Shift A, mesh. Cylinder 18 again is fine. Wireframe. I'll pull this up. And then E and S come in. E come down. Maybe I'll scale a bit. I want to look at this. F to make face. And let's Control B. Just bevel this back. Roll your mouse up a few times. We'll leave that as the end there. And then let's come back to here. Let's select that whole edge. I'll go to wireframe. And I think I'll select that edge too. Actually, I think I'm going to box select this. I'm going to scale Shift Z, make it a bit wider. Like that. Okay, Shift Alt to click that edge. And we're going to pull up. And scale. E and S come in. E and S come out. E, and I come to here. There's a little edge that I'm going to scale in a little bit. E, come to the end, we'll scale in some more. E and S, E, and we'll taper that in a bit. F to make a face, go back into solid view, and we're going to bevel that as well, just like that. All right. Okay, cool. Let's just focus on the pen. Go Control 1 for one subdivision. We'll add some edge loops here, like this, and this. We'll drag one up here, and we'll drag one down here. This is going to be a little indentation, so let's select it and Control B, roll back to 0. Just make a little space, E and Alt S. Pull, and we'll drag another edge loop down here. It's debatable if we needed this edge because we have that one going in. All right, let's do another one down here, and put another edge loop here and here. There's our little sci-fi pen, and it's up to you if you want to sharpen this up more by dragging more edge loops. Might as well. So one more maybe here. Okay, and to make the clip for that, let's look again at this. Where are we? Okay. Make this thing. Let's do this. Let's select a circle first of all. Shift D. That's the scale. I just like to make it a bit bigger so we can see it. P to break it out. Let's look in wireframe. And where is my circle? Which is there it is. Okay, I'll scale that in a little bit. E, and we'll come out to here. Let's look in solid view. Select the whole thing, E and Alt S, and let's pull X faces, Alt N, recalculate outside. We will shade smooth in a minute. Control B and split that. In object mode, shade smooth. So there's our ring. And I really do need, I think, my empty to be moved back a little bit. So let's do that. Let's get out of the way of the pen. Okay, and to make the final thing, the clip part, the 3D cursor is up there now. So let's select something here and Shift S cursor to select it and bring in a plane and scale it down. I'm going to rotate X 90 on this. It's a little bit hard to see, so I'm just going to scale it like that and roughly position it. And where are we? Yeah, let's go back to solid view. Let's move that out. There we go. Okay, that's better. So what we'll do is select these two front points and pull them up. And I'm kind of looking at the side now. We'll go like that. Select these. Let's look from the side. Okay, and let's just E and extrude them back straight in. And make sure we grab both of those. And let's just extrude out a little bit like that. Let's do that kind of thing. Okay. All right. Let's make sure all our polys are flipped the right way. And let's go E and Alt S. And either push or pull. I think I'm going to pull to do that. When I do it this way, sometimes we won't get it quite even. So I just grab those in wireframe and pull them out a little bit. Let's make it a little bit more even. If you really want, you could grab all of these and make it similar. I could try solidify, see if that does a better job. Alt N, recalculate outside, and then in edge selection, grab there and bevel it. Control B. Let's do this. Roll your mouse up a few times around that. Shift Alt and click there. Another bevel, and then grab all the edges. Control B, and of course the very end, Just watch for crossing over, and we can focus just on that, and we can go to wireframe and get rid of that face as if it's going to matter. But is that right? Shade smooth that, bring everything back, and there we have our pen. Okay, I'm going to take all of this and call this pen. Make it a little easier on ourselves. Okay, cool. So let's hide that empty once and for all. There we go. And let's move that over. And we'll rotate X 90 minus. And put that into our scene somehow. That is what we end up with for our laboratory accident. Just looking at it in the viewport and experimenting with different matte caps. As for this guy here, this DNA, you could take that one and just have it out on the table. Or disappeared altogether. One last thing I would do is make sure we got shadows on, and we'll come to viewport and change this to black. And there's our scene. You can control plots to make it bigger, and if you do a screenshot of that, it's going to look just fine, you know, as opposed to a render. So it's a quick cartoony way of doing that. All right, there's our accident.